Okay, let's continue farming. Farming for money and resources. Let's get them back and try some nightmare dungeons. With the new setup, we found a really nice amulet. As in, it has a lot of mana cost reduction. And we actually achieved a really nice point where, well, it's called Soulfire doesn't work here in the city, but we are running to mana meteor. We have 124 mana pool. We want some mana on our helmet, and basically another ring with mana. I'm not sure if offhand can roll mana, but what we are going for at this given moment is actually trying to get a better offhand. With some lucky hit chance, we should get rid of the intelligence. We want a critical strike chance. We want the chance to restore primary resource, and I think if it can roll, we would really like some mana reduction again there. So if we could run like, let's say 160 mana pool with like around 20 mana meteor, that would give us roughly 8 to 9 meteors per mana pool, which is a lot. And during the time we probably will proc all that stuff that gives us mana back. So that's what we are going for at this moment, and let's just get to it. Again, the music is from a copyright free YouTube playlist, and you can find the link in the description. See if we have materials for. So we lack some howler moss. Actually, what else? Third eye, howler gallow and crushed beast bones. We are short of howler moss, but we still have. Okay, we have 10, so we're fine for a while. Resource power resist, death pool, quite low. Durable resist, old enchanted serpent slayer. Okay, this will be really a test of faith for the new build, I guess. Because, you know, if you have gone through this particular dungeon, you know that there's a lot of really annoying mobs, as in those medusas who, in addition, if they stun, they can stun you with their regular attack, which is like a kind of thrust, their claw, or what the fuck that is. And in addition to stunning you, they will summon the eye that petrifies you, and now that they have cold enchanted, they will also freeze me. So this will really be a test of faith for this new setup. So we are running firewall and meteor. I took some points of Hydra because basically it's only for single target DPS, and having it run 9 out of 5 makes it deal like 15% more damage. That doesn't really affect anything. But instead we have maxed out Soulfire, Endless Fire, Warmth. Warmth is like the best thing you can get on Fire Sorceress. I went back to the Firebolt so we can use Combustion to get 12% increased burning damage. And I'm using the Summoned Hydra for burning damage. And we have maxed out Meteor with the Wizard's Meteor that immobilizes the enemy, so we can proc Devouring Place more often. Of course, Crippling Flames. Maxed out Firewall with the Mage's Firewall. So it's kind of fun to play right now. At least I was playing Helltide again, so that's way easier, even though the mobs are level 104. But yeah, let's see how it turns out. So the build works in a way now that where you kinda You first proc like a secondary meteor or flame walls or fire walls, what I always get it wrong. Then you start dealing a lot of damage because you got start getting those procs. Do they have point? No, what the fuck is dealing point damage to me? I guess it's those cultists. So yeah, in addition that now that they are cold enchanted, they will basically give me crowd control most of the time when I get into a bad spot. Is that they deal poison damage. Okay, there is your example of I was talking about. So okay, here was the stun attack. So they stun with their claw and they deal a bunch of damage. Can also deal poison damage in addition to that. So you will get poisoned, you will get stunned, you will get frozen, and you will get petrified. And because there is no diminishing returns in this game, you can basically just get stun locked forever. And yeah, you know what happens after that. Like there, I didn't even notice anything hit us, and we lost 6k barrier or 7k armor. Jesus. It's around 6k, so we lost that, and we lost also like 3k health, so it was 10k damage to us with a single. Like, this is just fucking insane. Like, Jesus, did he fucking Christ on a motorbike? Like, Helltide level 102 monsters were nothing, but when we just came into Nightmare Dungeon, everything they take like 2 times less damage. There's no modifiers here that would make them take less damage, excluding the. There you go. One shot by a regular trash mob. That witch was burning, so that's damage reduction. Burning enemies 30%. In addition, that we run like 80% reduction from armor. Oh, okay. Okay, just saying. And by the way, this does not happen if you play any other class. They have like, I don't know what's the problem with sorcerers, but they don't get one shot. Jesus fuck, man. Okay, this is like the perfect example why it gets so fucking frustrating playing sorcerer. Like even if I maxed out my life pool, I would get like 14k life. That doesn't make any difference. It will be exactly the same. I could put on like a pair of big boy pants to get 40 damage reduction and get something like 20 plus 10 damage reduction from the chest, and they would still one shot me at this level. It doesn't just, you know, it doesn't make any fucking difference. It doesn't matter. The only thing that's actually keeping me alive is the dodge chance. Nothing more to it, nothing less. Okay, there was yet another damage reduction. Mofo. Like you can see now with the when the firewalls proc underneath the enemy, I can get a lot of mana, so we don't need the chain lightning enchantment anymore. But that guy was enchanted with explosive and fire enchantment, and you saw like my meteor was critting 16,000. 16 fucking thousand. Okay? Like they have like 98 more percent damage reduction against fire, and that's direct fire damage, and burning is even worse. So welcome to the agony that is fire sorceress. Like if they lowered the resistances by 20, we would be already dealing 5 times the damage, and that would be not even close to par to other classes, but no, manageable. It would be fun to play, because it wouldn't be such a fucking struggle to kill anything, basically fucking anything. Jesus titty fucking Christ on a motorbike. What is this? Okay, now we got to the part where they start to deal poison damage. And like, whereas I crit 400k with Meteor in World Tier 4 Allied 102 level mobs, here I crit 200k against the mob. So basically they have twice the damage mitigation already, just because they are in a nightmare dungeon. So, and that does not happen with physical damage, that does not happen with shadow damage, that doesn't happen with any other element than fire. So there's something really broken about damage fire. I mean fire damage mitigation. Like how in the fuck can I avoid these obelisks? I'm trying to, you know, run to the other corner where they aren't, and they despawn after like few seconds, and they respawn on me and they instantly kill me. What the fuck? Really, my blood pressure is like 200 out of fucking 400 right now, because this is just something that makes me fucking furious. There's like, of course, that's what the people, at least in the bug forums, they are. Why don't you play cold? Why the fuck would I play cold if I want to play fire? Of course you can blast shit off screen. You can basically, if you play Ice Shard, you can just blast everything, the smithereens, off screen. You can spam from here and everything just turns into dust. Of course, it's OP whenever if these monsters are just broken as fuck, because you don't need to deal with their damage. The thing with fire is that, especially with the burning, you need to be close to the enemies, because when the firewall procs, I get 25 more burning damage when I stand still in the firewall. Also I get the life regeneration. Again, with the fucking lightning enchantment. Can you... Again, this guy has mortar, and his fire resistance is like just fucking bonkers. And that's the thing, like, 2 times out of 3 they have a fire enchantment. It's either mortar, explosive, or fire enchantment, and they all they add more fire damage, each of them. So if they have all 3, they are basically immune to fire damage, and that doesn't make any sense at all, does it? At least to me it doesn't. By design a game it wouldn't work like that. Definitely would not. In comparison, for example, level 100 rogue, he crits easily for 5 million, and then he leaves so big damage over time through poison that like that pack there, basically he would have just needed to hit once and all of them would have been dead. So the poison is basically dealing like from 500,000 to 1 million per deck, and they don't even need to invest in it so much. I have 450% burning damage, and my basically when they are on top of 10 firewalls, which after all the calculations deal around 400k damage, but still, like, if you think the actual damage for firewall is after all the calculations like 3 to 400k damage, it should be dealing like 30 to 40k per second, which means 20,000 per tick. So take a look at here. I'm gonna show you the firewall as a main skill for a second. I'll show you. I put one firewall here. How much is that? 2,500. So 30,000 turns into 2,500. So that's like just fucking insane. And that guy didn't even have the enchantment. If he would have had fire enchantment 1 or the explosive or mortar, whatever, I just call them all fire enchantments, it would have dealt like 1,000 damage. If they have 2 fire enchantments, it would dealt 500. And the best case scenario where they have all 3, it deals around 160. Yes, 160. So 300k firewall deals 160 damage. Sorcerer is the new fucking hurricane in this game. Like, at the given moment this guy was sitting on like on top of 10 firewalls, which all deal 300k damage. That would be 3 million DPS, as in, you know, 1.5k per second. I mean per tick, because it's 2 times per second. So 1,500,000. Instead it dealt 100,000. So if we make a quick calculation here, calculator, that turns out 100,000 divided by 1,500,000. That's, oh, fuck that one. What did I say? 100,000 divided by 1.5 million. It's the actual damage. So we are dealing 6% of the damage our skills are making. So roughly 93.3% is mitigated. 93.3% of the damage we deal is mitigated. And for physical damage, it's only the only thing that accounts for physical damage mitigation is armor, and it's basically so if they had like enough armor to run 100%, reduction, that would mean that it would be only 50%. So if we compare 95% to 50%, that would mean 45 divided by 5, that's 9, so 9 times more damage. So if my meteor deals 200,000, it should deal around 2 million, and the shrapnel should deal around 500k. So that would be actually quite close on par how it should be working. And that's the thing why I'm always speaking about the monster resistance, and why that would be something that would fix the game quite easily, is that it's not actually the skills or the damage they deal, it's the fucking damage mitigation the monsters have. The same way our resistance are bugged, that there's a multiplier of 0.25, so if you take like 100 lightning resistance, you actually gain 25 lightning resistance, and it's not added, it's multiplied by the base lightning resistance. So basically all resistance you are trying to get from your gear are just nerfed to shit. They don't matter. They just don't fucking matter the way things are now. And something to know about the nightmare dungeons and the sigils is that, like, I will use PoE because it's a great example, so I will use it as an example. At the end game where you fight Maven, you get 20% less damage. In Uber version you get minus 40, so as in less 40% less damage, and that's like the ultimate pinnacle challenge of the game. Okay? So here, like, casually they take anything from 40 to 60% off your damage with one FX. In addition to that, all these death pulls and lightning storm, that's like the well, it's not probably the worst one, but it's just fucking annoying. It makes the dungeon super slow. And these enchantments, they wouldn't be so bad if the actual damage calculations would work like they should, but they are not doing. Like, old enchantments can keep you stun locked forever. Okay, this is actually quite good. Less burning damage can't do. I don't deal any damage. Lightning storm I don't wanna do. Overpower resist. Less burning damage can't do. That shouldn't. It's too slow. Old enchanted. That's quite trippy. What are the others? Unstoppable. Not good for us. Less bleeding damage. That's doable, but still sucks. Suppressor. Well, again, it's doable, but with meteor it bugs. Like, half the time you don't deal damage even though you are in the fucking dome. And I don't wanna hear those wise ass comments where like, well, the meteor is coming out of the bubble. If you are inside the fucking bubble, it doesn't matter how your skill works, it should deal fucking damage. The idea in the suppressor bubble is that you need to be inside. That's a really common mechanic in ARPGs, and none of the fucking ARPGs work in way where you beat meteor or fucking, I don't know, something that calls lightning from out of your mother's ass. I don't really fucking care. It should work in a way that if you are inside the bubble, it always deals damage. But it doesn't work in this game, at least that way. If I remember right, Onyx Hold is just shit. We're not gonna go there, we're gonna go to the Pharaoh's Den. That's at least somewhat not super irritating dungeon. And these very little things like quality of life changes. Example, again here with the fucking stun lock, and basically one fucking bear almost one-shots me. Okay, now this is a good example here. 102. Now they are at the same level as they were in the Helltide, where I completely just fucking burned through everything. Okay. My meteor is dealing 100k damage. So the damage is halved. Okay, I didn't pay attention there, but everything deals too much damage, or I think the problem is that sorcerer is just way too fucking squishy. Like the only thing only way you can really even play sorcerers in the endgame is by having temerity. So you're constantly trying to keep your barrier up various ways. Some people use the whatever skill it's called in the tree, where you get a bunch of barrier when you use cooldowns, but that's shit as well, because it doesn't work in a way that if I like generate barrier from that skill, let's say 5000 barrier. If I have temerity here, now I'm running 5000 barrier, it's added to this, but it's up to the maximum of my base life, which is not the lives you see here. It's something like 8k, probably around 7.5, 8k. And if you use this ability here, it gives you barrier for 2 seconds. That's if you use nodes here, you will run it for 2.5 seconds, which is like just fucking sad. And it doesn't work even with temerity, which says you will give the barrier, you will get it for 8 seconds. If you add it here, the barrier will be taken off after 2.4 seconds, so it doesn't really add up to fucking anything. You basically want just something like mana cost reduction, or something that actually give you a fighting chance to deal enough damage. Fantasy wise, if you think about any other ARPG, if you're playing a sorcerer, mage, or anything like, yeah, well, yeah, they should be, and they can be, and it makes sense that they are squishy, but in addition that they can't really deal damage, doesn't make any sense. So if I'm really this squishy that I will get one shot all the time, and like I argued before, it doesn't make any difference if you invest into survivability. So at least I should be dealing so much damage I don't need to, you know, face the monsters. I don't need to fucking face tank them. And that's another thing where people are like, why are you being close to the enemies? Well, most of the enemies in this game... Okay, here you can see the fire enchantment at play. So basically I was standing around for 3 seconds. At that point my meteor should be critting way over 400,000, like out in the wilderness. And now it dealt to the elite with the 2 affixes 130k, which had all the burning damage thingies and whatnot on. And the burning damage dealt 30k. So the burning damage reduction is even worse. So instead of dealing 100,000, it dealt 30k. But no, if they have got physical affixes, like bleeding or whatever, they don't get any more armor, they don't get physical damage reduction. If they're shadow enchanted, they don't get shadow damage reduction. If they're cold enchanted, they don't get cold damage reduction. If they are explosive, if they have mortar, or if they're fire enchanted, basically you deal no fire damage to them at all. And I'm just like trying to understand what's the logic behind all of that, because at least to me it doesn't make any fucking sense. Again with the fucking shit staff. I don't want this shit. Like, and the imprints on sorcerers, like, this is fucking joke. If you look at any other classes, like their own uniques, they are actually pretty nice. Like Bone Necro gets the helmet and all that shit for his Bone Spear, and they are all additive, so you'll get a bunch of different unique aspects for one skill. Okay, Sorceress has that too, but you get it for Fireball. So when you launch a Fireball, every third cast you get 2 projectiles. That's like, whoa, that might sound good, actually. Thing is, even if you get Fireball, like, what's the maxed out? I think you can get like 9 out of 5 or something. It's still, the damage now is 24k, but it doesn't go that much up. It goes like to 40k. Okay? So think about 40k. Every cast 40k, and with all the damage reduction, it just accounts to nothing. Meteor at this point, even without much further ado, it deals already 70,000 plus the shrapnel that comes down from the sky, which can basically, if they hit the same point, double the damage. So that's already 3 times better. So okay, you think like every third cast you get a little, like 2 fireballs more. Okay? Well, you need to be basically face tanking the enemy for the fireballs. I can like give you an example. Let's take one of Hydra and put it here in the fireball, and well, this will probably gonna die, but this is just for the showcase. How much? It's 25 now that we have all the stuff. Now, stand still, it goes down to 21. So okay, let's get the lethals right here. The thing is, Fireball doesn't deal burning damage. The only way you can make it deal burning damage is by using the Fireball enchantment, which doesn't really work that well, like basically anything. The only good thing about Fireball is that it has a pretty high chance, like lucky hit chance. But basically, yeah, you're trying to sustain mana without getting, like, one cast of meteor gives a bunch of stacks of burning through the imprint, and that's where you start to deal a lot of damage. Yeah, it's just kind of sad. If it dealt like 3 times the damage, it would be definitely something. But still, you needed to always face tank all of the enemies in order for the like 3 times whatever shit. Fuck. So when you, in the example there, even though it has lucky hit chance, it's nowhere near meteor, and we get a bunch of burning stacks. We start to proc the fireballs. Once we proc the fireballs, we proc more meteors and so forth. So it kinda turns into a snowball effect there, where you, once you get it going, it starts to deal some damage. So, like, if we had 4 or 5 times the damage we have now, this build would be like super viable, and I would be okay with the squishiness. I definitely would be. It would make up for all the effort, you know, trying to stay alive. Just the sheer, first of all, the diminishing returns. We really do need that for this game. It doesn't make any fucking sense that you can be stun locked forever. It just doesn't. Because okay, I do have unstoppable, and I could get unstoppable for ice armor. But you know, if you have to have like 5 fucking skills out of your 6 skills just to, you know, be able to not be locked in place every 2 seconds. Again, that to me at least sounds like shit design. So I think it's kind of cool. You get crowd control, you got the unstoppable. Like when there's a tight situation, like if you get a horde incoming, like get overflowing amount of monsters on top of you, and again, like I guess we got the flame of anal fucking volcanic at the same time or something. I just can't make anything out when there's so much clutter on the screen. Like I think those whatever they are, they should have like so. I mean they like the color, this stuff. They should be something that you can actually see. Okay, they are fire. I think yeah, they are colored fire, but why can't they like sprout high or so, give us at least a fucking fighting chance actually to understand that there's happening. Like under all this, it should be something that I could still see. What else but the fucking shit wand of havens? Like this is like the best example of sorceress unique. Like Incinerator in itself is like the worst skill in the whole fucking game. Like the worst. I'll show you here. Even though if you max it out and you got all the core skill damage and the attack speed. Actually that's one thing. Attack speed doesn't even really, it deals you know, burning enemies per second. It burns enemies over a second period of time. So it would kind of make sense if you got more attack speed, right? That it would burn enemies even faster. But it doesn't. It doesn't. It's always 1 per second. And in addition, when you cast it, it kind of reserves your mana. So when you first cast it, it takes 15 mana. And when you keep casting it, it casts like the first tick uses 30 mana. So twice. It takes 15 10 times 2. So here, okay, it's 0 out of 5. But if I max this out like 9 out of 5, it will still deal less damage than the firewall. And like wave, let's say it's now 20k, it would be around 60k. And firewall is around 130k. Okay? So imagine you have to stay still. You don't deal any damage. You can't dodge, you can't do shit. There's nothing good about that skill. I would get it like if I would say if dealt 15 times more damage, there could be a reason to actually use it. And like, it would be kind of cool if it had like a high lucky hit chance. You could like, it would be worth to stand still, you know, to proc all those meteors and something like that. But it has one of the worst lucky hit chances of all the sorcerer skills. You know, taking into account how it's played. It stands still. It ticks once per second. Ice Shard has a higher lucky chance, and one cast hits for 5 times, like, and you can cast it almost 2 times per second if you just, you know, stack a lot of attack speed with one-hander. So none of this shit makes any sense. It just doesn't. Okay, let's go and see how the boss fares out with the new Inas. Oh my god. Oh, come on. Annoying blood flames. Just go. So here's a good thing, showcase of the like mana sustain. That's why I used the chain lightning engine, but I don't want to do it anymore. For the sole reason of killing the bosses, which are the biggest deal anyway. But it just irritates me a lot that we don't have the option to deal decent amount of single target DP. Conjuration skill, increased duration, shield enemies. I guess we could like level this up and try out the firebolt. If we max it out and get all the, if core skills crit, you get more attack speed. Like try to max out that tryout for. It would be kind of cool if fireball, if you could make fireball deal burning damage in order to proc fireball and meteor. That would be, I think, at least it sounds like a really fun build. But the way things are now, that's just not something, probably that's not gonna work. But once we get some more stuff, we can try it out, but I think it's not going to work. Just because of the fact that it's a two-hander, it's really slow. To cast that shit, you should be able to like get it on one-hander or something and get a good offhand. And what's odd to me as well is that offhands cannot go critical strike damage. Like, what's the reasoning behind all of that? To me, at least, it doesn't make any sense. And just for shit and giggles, before the season 1 comes out, we're gonna make a bunch of different fireball and incinerate builds, and just to showcase how actually fucking ridiculous all that shit is. Just because, you know, it doesn't do anything but make you want to lose your fucking mind. Okay. Backstabbers don't do ever like 30. Okay, we got a 36 sigil from my, what was the tier, like 48. They were 102, so something like 47 or 48. This is another thing. What the fuck does it drop so low level shit? Resistance breakers combined with Avenger, and the map fucking sucks. I guess we'll do that. Guess we'll just do it. Actually, before we do that, I'm gonna need to look quick. Another thing about Fireball are the gloves of the Illuminator. The gloves that make the Fireball bounce. Is that like the distance for the bounce is fixed? Yeah, I get it. But isn't like the idea of a unique is to make the item better instead of making it worse, so it deals, if it's perfect roll, which I have, it deals 65% less damage. Already the skill doesn't make any fucking damage, so if you get gloves that are supposed to make it better, it bounces, yeah, but you can't really hit like fucking anything with it, and in addition to that, it deals 65% less damage. So even though it's maxed out and you got all this fire damage stuff going on, it starts to crit like 20k. 20 fucking k. Level 40 druid can crit over 20k. So just fucking die already. Just again with the example fire enchanted guy there took like third of the damage from our fire skills. I would understand like 10 to 20% damage mitigation if they are enchanted. Same element. Fantasy wise that would make sense. But 60%, 70% less damage. Like, no. No. You don't do that. You don't design ARPGs in a way. When you level up, you start to feel weaker because damage resistances for monsters go so high. Like the classic ARPG thing is that when you reach endgame and you go into the higher difficulty, your own resistances go down. You get like minus resistances. Still, you can push up those resistances back, like maxing out your gear, and that's like the classic version of how ARPGs do that. Here, in addition, that you can't really get any damage reduction. Like, you think about how sorceress is an elemental, we deal elemental damage. I have 42 increase resistance to all elements, and still my elemental resistances are like bunch of whack, and actual fire resistance of 54.6 reduces incoming fire damage by 27.3. So actually only half of the resistances are applied. Why the fuck it just doesn't say 27.3? Why does it say 54.6? So why are all of the actual numbers behind some fake number? And I think the armor contribution thing is kind of nice. At least the idea is, but how it's actually done, so basically you should be able to get 100% fire resistance here. So half of the fire damage would be mitigated. And if you got a bunch of armor, so the contribution would be half of that. It would be 25%. Okay? Or how is it calculated? No, that would be 50%. But even though you got it to up to 100% damage mitigation, it doesn't mean you don't take any damage. No! It means if you have 100% damage mitigation, it's halved. The damage is halved. That's the highest amount of damage mitigation you can achieve in this game. If you have maxed out armor and maxed out resistances, which you can't even get, it would be only halved. And the normal way how ARPGs do it is just having the fucking resistance, making them deal less damage to you. Very simple, very good way of going at it, instead of trying to maneuver all this fucking bunch of different shit and damage buckets and all the things. That's just like, there needs to be a certain amount of complexity in the game, that's for sure. We do not want another Diablo 3, that's for, but at least I don't. But it doesn't need to be as complex as PoE. That's like super complex. I do enjoy the complexity in that game as well, because you have a lot of things you can do. But I'm saying there should be like a golden rule about going at this stuff, like the basics, resistances, all that stuff. Keep them simple. Instead of fucking up like monsters' resistances, why don't they just, give them more health? If your character starts to deal 10 times the amount of damage at level 100 compared to level 60, or let's say 50 times more damage, just give them 100 times more health. So basically they are twice as hard. But you don't need to up their resistances. Do not fix the fucking resistances, because that makes your character will feel weak. If my numbers were like, let's say the meteor would crit for 4 million and the monsters just had a lot of resistance, I mean health, it wouldn't feel nearly as bad as, critting the same amount I crit at level, 60 when I was still in World Tier 3. Because the damage resistances on the monsters were just like way lower. So instead of feeling more powerful, I just feel more weak. And that's like the worst possible way you can try to, build an ARPG game. At least in my opinion. For example, if the resistances were like supposed to work like they should, I would actually, get them. Definitely the first one I would do is get fire and lightning resistances up to par. Like that they would mitigate 75% of the damage. Like those fucking lightning enchanted motherfuckers who start to one-shot you at these levels. So I would be basically immune, which would make fantasy-wise again sense that I am intelligent, I'm sorceress, I deal elemental damage, I have resistance against elemental damage. So one could argue here that you should be quite, tanky against elemental damage. But no! No, that's not the case. And if you take a look at the Paragon tree, like, well, Fire Sorcerer is a good example. There's like fantasy-wise, you tend to get a lot of fire resistance while you are going for the damage nodes there. Okay? So it makes kind of sense that you're a fire elemental, sorceress, whatever, and you are basically half immune to fire damage, right? So, well, you're standing a fucking flame wall, of course you don't take as much fire damage. Yeah, even though I have like super high amounts of fire resistances, still my actual fire resistance is 5% better than the average guy who doesn't have any fire resistance, because it goes from up to 45 to 55 and you halve that actual difference there, which is 10%, so it's 5 damage person reduction, which is 1/20th of the damage, so it doesn't make any difference. No difference at all. And for example, like the Raiment of the Infinite, it's really nice. Like the idea where you teleport gathers these guys around. But wouldn't there be like an imprint? Like a lucky chance or like some skill on critical strike? Or some skill that actually kind of makes sense to pull enemies in? Like let's say Ice Armor here. Whenever I put it on and I cast a skill, I have a chance that, it kind of vacuums the enemies together. Some stuff like that. Like they need to get way more creative with the stuff and forget about the... Like the saddest example is the Meteor enchantment where you deal more damage to healthy enemies. And that's critical damage. So basically, other classes have plain just... This skill has 27% more critical strike damage, so almost doubles the damage of that crit on that, let's say, Hammer of the Ancient, Hoda. But for Sorceress, it's just critical strike damage to healthy enemies. And if you're playing a fire build, you deal a bunch of, little damage here and there. So basically no enemy ever is on full health. It's not even high health, it's full health. So, like, anything doesn't make sense about just shit. But like you can see here, the new build we came up with, it has by far the best single target DPS of all the fire builds I've come up with. So I'm kinda pleased to have it this way. And we can still quite nicely sustain our mana, so there's no like a huge problem there. It's gonna get a lot better. We need the better offhand with the better roll on primary resource and better gloves with the better primary resource roll. If we can get that close to 40 and push our mana pool to 160 through the ring and helmet, then it's actually be really good. The mana sustain, I'm gonna say, well, the damage of course goes up on par because we have more mana to cast the spells, but still the spells are so underpowered that it doesn't make that big of a difference. We can gain like 30% max DPS, whatever. And I'm saying it's like complete shit at this given moment. Like the clearing speed outside of Nightmare Dungeons is, well, pretty nice. It could be worse, be better, but it's definitely not good. This would have been a really nice amulet if it was like devouring blaze instead of total armor. Then we could have rolled lucky chance. That would have been actually the perfect amulet there. Champion's Demise, Stormbane's Wrath. It's a really good dungeon. We're gonna go there, even though it's really rippy. If I do really I really do hate something, or one of the affixes, that's pretty much it. Stormbane's Wrath. It just gives me the fucking irritation of my life. Let's go through the Legion event here first. Gonna go clear the cellar first and go there to get some mobiles in order to roll better offhand. Then we'll just continue Nightmare Dungeons. Okay, we are drifting about. Nice lag there. But I find quite odd is that when the game was first released, actually it worked better. There was no lag, even though there was, I think, more players at the same time, and that something happened at some point and make this lag even worse. Well, fuck the cellar, we are running out of time.
Greetings.
And if you're wondering why I'm doing this with my neck all the time, is that I have a neck injury from a few years back, and I have sustained some damage into my spinal cord, and like the discs in my neck get locked, and when that happens I just pop them open. That's why I'm doing that. And also one thing, again, like these elixirs, I like the system that you can like push your character a little further using the right kind of potion. But the thing is, these highest tier potions, they are quite costly. So if they only last for 30 minutes, which I think they should last for 1 hour at this point, like I get the weak ones last for 30 minutes, but at this point where they really cost a lot of things, they should last for 1 hour. And in addition to that, like, we have a bunch of this stuff here, and well, if you are like keen on doing one build, you're probably using like one or two different potions for certain setups, and a lot of the higher tier, like the rare materials, will be something that you don't need. So why can't I like break them, like downgrade the items and get, or just basically have some kind of dust and just turn that dust into the potion I want to, or buy the potion. I know there's kind of MMO aspect to this, but that's like not the one thing you want from MMOs. You need to go around, gather fucking flowers in an area where there's no enemies whatsoever, no other incentive just than to just get the useless fucking, well, they're not used, but you know, annoying. Again there with the shitty proc. Like, also these events are like basically just annoying because there's nothing hard about them, and there's a certain builds which deal so much instant damage. It's really kind of hard to sustain mana here because some of the builds just like basically blow everything up. There should be, I think, more elite monsters instead of just huge amounts of grass mobs. Again, what the fuck? This guy isn't unstoppable. He didn't have the whatever that symbol is over the heads, like chain or something. He didn't have that. He was unstoppable. I couldn't freeze him. He didn't deal. I didn't get to do any extra damage to him. There are a bunch of things that are quite broken. So here you can see in comparison how the my shard build is the meta. Everyone basically plays it. No one plays anything. It just spreads to everything. And even not that, even that build isn't that really that good. Or I'm not sure if it's actually the eye shot guys. Is it the? I guess it's the rogue and the druid.
appreciate that. Farewell.
So here we are with the Stormbane's Wrath. This is gonna be horrible. I just fucking hate. The dungeon actually is one of the, I think, best dungeons. It's, even though it's quite scarce at some points, but there's like a system to it, you can do it. So we are dealing now 40% less damage, so you're wondering why it's even worse than before, so that's the thing. Fire here. And since we have Stormbane's Wrath, I can't really stand still for too long. I'm gonna get wrecked. And these fucking spiders, they are like super OP with that shit. They live on the ground. You can get stuck, like if you get the worst possible rolls, you get stuck for a bunch of time. Okay, I'm gonna hear like fuck me. Just come here and fucking die. Like this is the cool part in the build where you can just get a ton of procs at the same time, and then you can deal kind of decent damage. It's not still good, but could be nice if they fix the damage resistances. And once they do, I think the build will be actually really viable and really fun to play. Again, with we got hit by like 2 of those lightning bolts, and for some reason it seemed like they ticked 10,000 fucking times on us. So I don't know what's the logic behind all that. And poison damage is like completely broken in this game. In addition that the resistance doesn't work, but if even a trash mob has the effects here where they deal some percentage their damage as poison damage, like 30, I remember, is that they can basically hit you one time and your whole HP bar is filled with poison damage, and after that basically done for if you don't have some kind of like regeneration ability or mitigation ability like I have with the ice armor. Fire enchanted, fire enchanted, fire enchanted. Mortar explosive, fire enchanted, fire enchanted, fire enchanted. Like, and again with this guy, like, he cast the spell once, then I immobilized him and I froze him before, and still he kept on casting the lightning spell. It just came out of his fucking arse And I get it if he's doing the animation, like he keeps up the stuff in the sky. Even though he's not doing the animation, he's still casting the spell, which is kind of OP in these, like, well, good example is gonna be here. Moments where you kind of would want to the game work in a way that, okay, now we are just basically fucked if we don't get out of this. Okay, let's try it again. Okay. So this guy here just did something, and I guess it's poison enchanted again, like that his spells are given. It's not 30%, it's like fucking 5,000% the damage or something. It's just completely fucking broken as well. I really do hope the chunky patch, that like they call it, is when it's coming out, it's gonna fix a lot of these problems. Can only hope for it. We don't have a fucking clue what it's gonna do.
I'm not ready yet.
Come on, can you just fucking die? No. I'm casting a spell which deals lightning and poison damage at the same time. Because it's fair. Stuff like that. Okay. Like, what the fuck happened there? I had barrier. I had stunned them. They were frozen. There was this one guy in the corner who wasn't under any crowd control effect, and he one-shot us.
I'm out of mana.
Okay, so this guy doesn't even have the poison enchanted. There's shadow enchantment here, and he dealt poison damage to us. Like you saw from the healthful, he dealt poison damage, not shadow damage. So, what's that about? I won't care to explain.
I'm not ready yet.
Jesus, fuck, man.
I'm not ready yet.
primary control of critical vehicle function.
I need time.
Okay. Kinda interesting.
I need time. I lack the needed mana.
Come on, can you fucking come out of there? Like, basically, in my opinion, they should get rid of most of these annoying ass things that are following you around. I know there are some guys or dudes or girls or whatever who like this shit, but in my opinion, just plain good old, like, make the elites have higher critical strike chance, something like that, and take away their chance to overpower you. That's one thing I think is bugged, that the monsters actually do have overpower. It doesn't make any fucking sense, because you can get basically one shot by anyone. And here the, like it says, melee defenders. That should be at melee range, and it's bugged. Like, if I first am at the melee range and then I go out and deal damage from outside their melee range, I still don't deal the damage I should be dealing. So there's something also bugged right there.
Are we buying or selling? This I can sell. Decent value. I thank you.
Let's try and roll yet another offhand. Come on. Do not want nice offhand. Let's try the college.
Come, try your luck.
We don't give a shit, just give us a bunch of poo.
Next will be better.
Okay, he listened too well. He gave us actually
Decent
shit.
value.
So basically all of them are shit cause the item power enough isn't enough. So go. Bottom of pit.
Need something blessed? Cursed, perhaps. One form to another.
So one thing I have been wondering about, cause my friends they're playing Barbarian Necromant Druid. They say when they do a Nightmare dungeon, they say they are dropping like 5 to 10 sigils dungeon, and I roughly get that one. So is there a case like with the druid where the drops are bugged for some classes? Like I've never seen over 3 sigils dungeon. Never. I guess I'm gonna try to farm for the offhand, like again here with the ice, whatever fucking shit that is, like mine. You could see like the 3 out of 4 mines over here, and then the last one which was beneath our feet, you just couldn't see it, and when it was almost exploding it kinda turned out from nothingness. So is that also lag? What the fuck is that? How was I allowed? Okay, immobilized again. I was stun locked for like 7 seconds in a row.
I need time to prepare.
Again, what the fuck? How many fucking whatever sperm nests can they actually leave on the ground? Like a single spider can spout like 5 fucking webs, which you can see. And you will be immobilized for 2 or 3 seconds. Jesus fuck, man. That shit starts to really get under your skin after some while. Yeah, and the other thing why as far sorcerer you need to be close to the enemies well, of course, the Raiment of Infinity. But think about, like, there's nothing that taking their attention away from, basically, I think, other than me, and they are just all coming for. And if you try to hit Meteor, even though it would be at the skill where it comes down 30% faster. So if you try to, like, how is it said that you try to, like, what's the fucking word? Sorry, I'm native Finnish, so sometimes I get lost for words, but you like to. Well, the guy is here and he's coming for you, so you kind of like to need to think where to hit in advance in order to hit that guy with meteor. So it's just easier to stand in front of them and use your barrier skills in order to tank a little bit and let them hit you, and then crowd control to actually hit them, because you won't otherwise. And now again, for some reason, level 103, my media crits here for almost 400k, and burning deals way over 100,000, and there's no modifiers. They take less physical damage. It's like if they have the shadow damage over time reduction, it actually affects fire as well, or something, some shit, I don't know. I'm not really surprised by anything at this point. Like, it's easier to say what isn't broken, because basically everything is. Okay, lag.
I need time to prepare.
So it's kind of sad that even with the shrine, we don't deal as much damage as any other class would without. So having blast wave shrine is making us not on par with other classes. The damage. The only reason why I'm doing the Legion events is solely for balls. They are really boring.
Take it off your hands.
How fucking much is there lag here? Jesus. Like there you can see two necromancers and druid, everything is basically just one shot. Like there's some balance for you. Well, I think the damage over time necro isn't doing anything. The bone necromancer and the druid slicing the pulverize, where you can have like I don't know, it's like 3 imprints, one for critical strike damage, which like gives up 300% critical strike damage, which is just fucking insane. And in addition to that, it gives you a wave that goes forward from it, that can, when utilizing two-hander, it can deal like twice the amount already, plus the critical strike damage. And in addition to that, you can also get an input that makes it like sprout out a AoE around you. So it's a single target skill that hits 3 times and it has like 500 critical strike damage that crits for many millions. Basically a few times in a row with one cast. They can keep up their resource almost full all the time, and you can just basically spam the pulverize, hitting millions. Like here you can see when he is not doing tornadoes, he can just use the pulverize.
I need time to
There's just no, basically, there's no reason for do anything. Yay, this is fun.
Your bones they shall cease.
Okay, there. One shot.
I'm not ready yet.
Fuck you. Okay, Necromancer one-shotted. Shit, I'm left clearing the... Whatever fuckers these are, I'm not interested in. Yeah. So level 87 Necromancer, which still has like 50 Paragon points to go. One-shots enemies I can take down with meteors. There's like the perfect example of balance in this game right now. At least in my opinion it should be the other way around. At this point when I'm level 100 I should be the one-shotting these constructs, not the level 87 Necromancer. Just saying. Okay. That was the fastest
I appreciate it.
kill I've ever seen. They basically were one shot. Oh. Yay, fun. Another pair of Frostburn gloves, which have a good idea that basically suck fucking.
That's a deal. Don't hurt yourself.
And like these guys are level 95 and I'm still struggling to stay alive here with all that dodge and reduction and can you just go fuck yourself? Why aren't they? Why don't my hydras cut here? They don't deal any burning damage. What happens to the burning damage? Why don't they take any burning damage? Like Nothing deals burning damage anymore. Yay! Okay, okay, this is really close to the point again where I'm enough irritated to stop playing for a few days again. Uh, uh, how many meteors was that? 3 or 4 that didn't hit the target? That's kind of fair, isn't it? What the fuck is happening? I wasn't feared, but I was stunned with something which I don't know what the fuck it was, because this guy didn't hit me. So I guess it's those fucking ass raids. Fuck me. How can something be so fucking overpowered in, in a game like this?
I'm not ready yet.
Okay. The little guy got through. Again, it was quite odd that I saw the little guy like on a little left here, a little my left, like down a little here. He was basically he was his whole health bar was already down, and he had so little health left that he should have died. Like 3 meteors hit the exact same spot where he was standing, but he didn't take any damage again. So what is wrong with meteor's target acquisition. Like there's something really, really, really sketchy going on here. And again, here these wraiths, they take burning damage, but in the event they didn't take burning damage. And sometimes in the dungeons they don't take burning damage. So why are they immune? I didn't know there was immune. I know Diablo 2 had immune monsters, but there shouldn't be any in this game. Not that I know. And they are immune to direct fire damage, they are immune to burning damage. So yeah, I'm not gonna pop a potion anymore. We're gonna go through this dungeon and then I definitely need a break. I need to do something else, it's just getting so irritating. It's kinda... How is it even possible that one class has all these problems? In addition that half the time you can't deal any fucking damage because your skills don't work. You don't... Damage mitigation against fire is completely broken. Like, there isn't too many things in this old fire thing that isn't broken. It's fucking... Again, a trash mob one-shots me. So... Again there, second time, third time the meteor didn't deal any damage. What happens to the meteor? Like what the fuck happens to the meteor? And again, what the fuck is dealing so much damage here? Fuck. Like there you saw. One hit from the guy makes my whole... What the fuck, poison damage is so fucking broken. Again! What the fuck, man? He didn't even hit me, I was fucking here and the guy was there and he kinda shoveled his fucking thing around and I was hit. And basically all of my barrier went down. I had like 1/3 of my life left and it was fully poisoned. So if you are playing PvP and you're wondering why you can't defeat rogues, and that's the reason, their damage is just broken, completely broken. None of the mitigation works against it, it's just... the fuck. Again with the horse. Yay, I'm getting a bunch of horses. Okay, let's empty our bags and prepare what's left of our gear and call it a night. Silent cell. Ooh. Okay, that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching and listening to me lap on about all the things that are broken in this game. Let's hope in the future, once they fix all this shit, it's gonna get more fun. So, hope to see you another time, and please subscribe if you enjoy the content.